answers aren't always what you expect. Tonight, we delve deeper. We uncover the calculated, the inexplicable, and the brutally aggressive. These are the encounters where the motive is pure hostility, where the evidence vanishes, and where the very air around you vibrates with unseen malevolence. These aren't just stories. These are warnings. What if the scariest stories weren't stories at all? Welcome back to the places where the light dims and the shadows come alive, to the heart of the True Crime compilation, where we use the optimized hooked and crime formulas to expose the real intent behind the horror. Prepare yourself, because some secrets don't want to be found. Our first descent into the chilling unknown begins with Gaz, a seasoned outdoor YouTuber. He was enjoying a tranquil solo camping trip in the UK countryside in April 2023. This was his sanctuary, a crackling fire, the scent of a sizzling steak, and his loyal French bulldog, Fendi, by his side. The hook was the sudden, uninvited intrusion into this perfect solitude. As Gaz prepared his dinner, a strange man materialized from the surrounding woods. His name was Martin. The who was Gaz, the unsuspecting camper. The what was an unsettling encounter that would leave him questioning everything. The context shifted immediately from serene to tense. Martin, dressed in worn jeans and a coat, approached Gaz asking for a beer and some food. He seemed incoherent, rambling about how drugs had ruined his life.
Right, we've got steaks on go now. Bit of ribeye, pot boiling for some mash, and I've got a visitor. Creeped up behind me asking me if I had a light. Me pants. This is Martin anyway.
Hey.
I don't know him, but he's stopping for a steak,
just some random creep wandering about.
You went round here in a poncho a couple of months ago, were you?
Don't think I was. I could have been.
His presence, however, was not just the pity of a homeless man. It was unnerving. He was too direct, too sudden, and his energy felt off. The rising action intensified when Gaz, wary but attempting kindness, offered him food. Martin continued his disjointed monologues, but the true escalation occurred when Martin vanished as abruptly as he had appeared. Gaz had briefly turned his back to chop wood, and in that fleeting moment, Martin was gone. Without a word of thanks, without a trace. This was not a polite departure. It was a ghosting, a sudden erasure that left Gaz with a prickling sensation on the back of his neck. The outline of the journey had morphed from a peaceful camp into a potential stalking. The investigation began the moment Gaz realized he was likely a target. His gut screamed danger. He feared Martin wouldn't just stay gone. He might return, perhaps with accomplices, to target Gaz's expensive camping gear. In a brilliant move to protect himself and gather evidence, Gaz quickly deployed a trail camera, fixing it discreetly to a nearby tree, hoping to capture whatever or whoever returned under the cover of darkness. This was his crucial piece of counter-surveillance. The obstacle was revealed the next morning, confirming Gaz's darkest fears. When he returned to the campsite, the trail camera was gone. This wasn't simple theft. The how of the crime now became chillingly clear. Martin, or someone with him, had returned, not just to steal, but specifically to eliminate the potential evidence. They had either been watching Gaz set up the camera, or they were so familiar with surveillance tactics that they knew where to look. The mystery deepens with the missing camera. What moments did it record before it was taken? Were there more individuals than just Martin? Why go to such lengths to remove the evidence? as the original intent was far more sinister than a simple late-night visit for food. The suspense is the cold, calculated nature of the act. Gaz was being watched, assessed, and deliberately targeted by someone who actively sought to cover their tracks, leaving him and us with no answers about the true motive or the full extent of the threat. The ending for Gaz was immediate flight. He packed up, leaving a profound sense of unease. The closure is the terrifying realization that the danger wasn't casual. It was strategic. He had been scouted, watched, and nearly became a victim of an unknown plot, the details of which were stolen along with his camera. The silence, the sudden appearance, the swift disappearance, and the calculated removal of evidence all point to a professional, chillingly effective predator operating in the guise of desperation.
Our second encounter abandons all visual cues, stripping away everything but pure auditory terror. It's a chilling reminder that you can be watched without ever seeing a soul. Some mysteries are never meant to be solved, but here we dig them up. The hook is the audacity of the camper, an explorer known as Creepy Outdoors. He was deep in an unnamed, secluded forest, in a setting of absolute pitch blackness. The who was the solitary figure seeking the ultimate solitude. The what was an unprovoked vocal violation of that peace. The context was extreme isolation. For 13 minutes, the only discernible sounds were his own careful steps, his heavy breathing, and the rustling of leaves. This was a deliberate act of immersion into the wilderness. The rising action began when the camper committed a profound act of vulnerability. He paused, deliberately extinguishing his headlamp, choosing to fully absorb the total darkness. In that instant, when his senses were most exposed, the silence was shattered. The obstacle was a sound that cuts to the core of primal fear. It wasn't the distant howl of a wolf, nor the rustling of an animal. It was a clear, human-sounding voice cutting through the absolute quiet of the night, yelling through the trees, "I see you." The investigation immediately pointed to an impossible truth. The location was far too secluded for a random passerby.
Oh, hi. What? I need to get out of here. Oh, boy. Oh. Okay. That was creepy. I need to get out of here.
The voice was too sharp, too distinct, too undeniably human-like to be an animal. The how of the communication, the voice waiting for the exact, deliberate moment of vulnerability, implies a deliberate, intelligent hunter. This wasn't a mistake, it was a declaration. The mystery is profound. Who or what was out there? And why did it remain entirely unseen, only to reveal its presence with such a chilling, possessive acknowledgement? The suspense is knowing the hunter was close enough to speak, close enough to watch, yet remained invisible, choosing intimidation over confrontation. This wasn't just a random act, it was psychological warfare. The entity knew where he was, had been observing him, and chose the moment of his greatest exposure to announce its presence. The ending for the camper was instantaneous, terrified flight. He immediately declared, "I need to get out of here," scrambling to pack and escape the horrifying truth that an unseen presence had been tracking him, actively waiting to shatter his peace. The closure is the enduring terror of being watched, abyss of unexplained aggression, we turn to a group of young men, not alone, but together, a terrifying testament that even numbers offer no comfort when confronted with true malice. The hook is the sheer, overwhelming power of the threat. This is not a whisper or a distant figure. This is a declaration of dominance that defies all natural explanation. The who is a group of young, experienced woodsmen. The what is a sonic assault of impossible aggression. The context was a seemingly ordinary night for a group of young men deep in the woods, captured on video by a channel focused on outdoor adventures. They were enjoying their time, perhaps a little too loudly, when the wilderness decided to assert its true, terrifying power. The rising action began without warning. The initial sounds were sudden, violent, and deafening. It started with a series of booming noises, like massive objects being slammed or struck together, immediately followed by piercing, aggressive screams. This wasn't a distant sound. It was close, overwhelming, and rapidly approaching. The outline of their night had shifted from camaraderie to desperate survival. The investigation happened in real time, fueled by pure, unadulterated terror.
Hear that? Get Trevor. Austin, get the light. Hey! That was not an elk. Where's that coming from? Get my keys. Oh, get ready.
The group reacted with immediate, undeniable fear. Their desperate whispers confirmed their dread. What the hell was that? And the urgent, that was not an elk. They knew the sounds of the forest. This was something else. This was an entity that was not only massive in scale, but actively hostile. The obstacle was the sheer, overwhelming physical nature of the noise itself. The how could not be explained by any known animal. It sounded like a combination of a furious beast and a destructive force, actively pounding on its environment. The mystery is at the heart of their terror. What was out there making those impossible, violent noises? And why was it so incredibly aggressive? Was it a cryptid, a feral human, or something entirely unknown, perhaps a territorial entity enraged by their presence? The suspense is knowing that whatever was producing those sounds was colossal, powerful, and utterly devoid of fear, actively driving them out with overwhelming force. Their terror was genuine, their understanding was non-existent. The ending for the group was a frantic, immediate flight. They scrambled into their truck, their voices strained with genuine fear, and sped away, leaving the question of the source of the screams unanswered. The closure is the chilling confirmation that some places in the wilderness hold secrets too terrifying to comprehend, and forces too powerful to confront. They had encountered something that defied explanation, something that owned the night. We have witnessed 6 encounters, 6 moments where the thin veil between peace and terror was ripped apart. From the calculated stalking of the Cleveland woods, to the unseen voice in the pitch-black forest, and the sheer, incomprehensible aggression of the unknown howler. These are not just isolated incidents. They are part of a pattern of malice, a pattern of violation, a pattern pattern that screams a single terrifying truth. You are never truly alone, and what watches you in the dark might not be human. We've uncovered the who, the what, the how, but the ultimate why continues to elude us, leaving a gaping void of fear. Which of these cases, from the cunning thief to the impossible scream, left you with the deepest sense of dread? Let us know your theories in the comments below. And if you dare to continue this journey into the abyss, if you cannot look away from the true horrors lurking just beyond the campfire's glow, then you must like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because our investigation isn't over. In part 3, we're delving into the chilling true stories of those who simply vanished, and the terrifying theories of what truly took them. The darkness is waiting, and so are we. This is bone chilling.